going on, everybody? This is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo. When the fuck did we get ice cream? Man, I'm pumped for today's show. Appreciate producer Amber and Evo helping with today's quotes. But man, we got a lot of football to talk about. Big week. We got another early game, last early game of the year, so we can get back to some normal football. I'm going to be out at the Browns game tomorrow with producer Amber. We're going to be doing some video shooting for a documentary.
Nothing to do with tickets. Nothing to do with tickets being what, $6, the lowest of the year.
Well, listen, I got free seats from the Browns because the last game we went to, I got to go up on the Jumbotron and answer movie quotes. Movies are kind of my thing. I go to film school. So, I'm pumped. We get to go to the game tomorrow. It'll be fun. Afternoon game for us. We don't normally get afternoon games here in Cleveland because we suck pretty bad, especially nowadays. But, man, I'm excited for this weekend. My man, Evo, how are you doing? You guys coming off a loss. Big matchup this week. Interesting line in that game as well, my man. How you feeling going into this week?
Yeah, look, week 11, things, if you are on the social medias, the X sphere and everything, if you will, like the ceiling's just crashing in on the Vikings. I don't think it's like that. I think we had a fucking really weird week last week as far as penalties and Justin Jefferson performance and stuff like that. So I have obvious, thoughts going into this week in this game, and I still have positivity. I mean, our playoff chances are very low. We have to win. I think we can only basically take one more loss this year if we want to make it to playoffs, which is, quite a feat. Otherwise, we need some interesting stuff to happen within the NFC North, which is absolutely possible because it is almost gridlock. After this week, it could be gridlock, but it's week 11. The season's been a little bit disappointing for my team so far, but it's been a fun one overall, one of kind of growth and change and different storylines happening. I mean, we're seeing the Miami Dolphins beat the Buffalo Bills last week. It's wild. It's something that we always ask for, right? Parity in football, and we're getting a lot of that shit this year, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm excited for today's game or today's show to go over tomorrow's games. Going to be a fun one for sure. And happy to be here with all you scumbags who are going to be watching us go over and bet all these games. But we did have one game already happen this week, our Thursday night game. We were generally correct on what was going to happen in this one. You might not have gotten your pick right for the game, Mike, but
I got it right. It was minus 12.5, wasn't it?
Minus 12.5. Yeah, it was.
I got a win by 13, baby.
It was a win by 13.
I hit it right there.
Barely got it. I thought it was 14.5 for a while. I think that might have been where the final line had ended up or where it started. I don't remember which, but yeah.
I made it. It was close. It was close. It was very close. Justin Fields had an interesting game because Justin Fields didn't throw the ball very much. Well, he actually threw it a few times, but didn't throw it very well. But he was able to keep them in with his legs. We've kind of seen him just say, fuck it, I'm going to use my legs more over the last couple of weeks. It's helped the offense, but at the detriment of a lot of these wide receivers, man. Like a lot of these guys are not going to get looks, not going to get touches. And they got guys that they are trying to figure out. Adonai Mitchell, fucking Mechie there, saw a ton of targets. And, Garrett Wilson is going to be back at some point. Justin Fields can't be the quarterback for that team going forward. Now, obviously, the Jets are stacked with first-round picks over the next couple of years. But this was an interesting game in the fact that it did feel a little bit closer than that final score ended up being. Glad it was, the final score that way it ended up. But the Jets played a halfway decent game in this game.
Yeah, well, look, Aaron Glenn is a good coach, a good defensive coordinator, and despite the fact that they traded off a lot of their defensive assets, that defense is still kind of playing at the same level that it was before, even without Quinyon Mitchell or not Quinyon Mitchell.
Sauce.
It's Sauce, but who's the defensive tackle? Quinton Williams and Quinton Williams.
Sorry, yeah.
It's the brothers there. One of them's still there, but that defense is still playing kind of up to a good level. They were able to hold this Patriots team pretty low through that first half. But yeah, it is not going well on offense. You don't really have a passing game. Justin Fields definitely has to take the brunt of that. But I mean, you do have guys like you brought up, Adonai or AD Mitchell, who just got there, has some impressive physical capability, but had some gaffes in Indy, which allowed them to let him leave in that trade package for Sauce. But then in the game, he drops like 3 passes he absolutely should have had.
One dropped right in the fucking bucket. That was a great ball by Justin.
Yeah, and so that starts to dramatically change the way that we view how Justin Fields played. I mean, I don't think we're going to think like, oh, he's actually got like a good passing game going, but it's the same thing we can say this for a lot of quarterbacks. I can say this for my quarterback last week, like a couple more catches that were kind of dropped by receivers, and all of a sudden, a really bad day doesn't look as bad. It looks like a little bit more average to below average. So when you're not getting that sort of help, it doesn't help your cause overall as a team. But realistically, look, the Patriots in this game, another good game from Drake May, fantastic game from Trevion Henderson. Look, Trey Hendo might be pulling the whole Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard situation. Ramondre Stevenson might come back from this injury and find out, hey, I'm second on the depth chart and I'm getting only 30% of the snaps. And it's something that we've kind of been banging the table for all year. Like, why aren't we playing more Trevion Henderson? Why aren't we playing more Trevion Henderson? And now he's getting the opportunity, not because of, just his performance on the field, but because he's thrust into the limelight because of this injury. And it's been the best thing for him. Like, we never want players to get injured. I don't want Zach Charbonnet to get injured. But if it means Kenneth Walker actually getting to be the best back on that team and show that he's the best back on that team, it's kind of a benefit, and it's probably better for the team going forward. And I think it's the same thing here with the Patriots. You're getting to see why Trevion Henderson was taken where he was taken, why he was viewed as such a good back. And then he goes in this game and gets a bunch of touchdowns, a bunch of yards, and looks really good doing it. So happy to see that for him. Patriots sitting as the number 1 team in the NFL right now, record-wise.
Yeah, that's insane. It's not fair. Patriots fans are way too blessed. But yeah, I fucked up. I didn't think that they were gonna feed Trevion Henderson again and again. Like I thought, man, we had a breakout week. We're gonna have a little bit fall back to earth. And I sat him in fantasy, and I'm a fucking dumbass. So stupid. I should have played him. But now I know he will be in every goddamn week. I'm gonna figure out my running backs because I think I got 3 that I like to play damn near every week now. So yeah, tough, but good win for the Patriots.
Yeah, absolutely. So we did both get that one correct. I was incorrect here. I swear it was fucking 14.5 points at some point. I saw it somewhere, but I had it written down 12.5. So yeah, you absolutely did hit that one. Nice job on both of our parts to start the week off right here. Oh, yeah. And we want to continue with that going forward. So are you ready to jump into the rest of our games here for week 11?
Yeah, I'm ready, brother. Let's do it. We're going to start off with Miami. Actually, Commanders in Miami, not taking place in Miami, though. This is taking place in Spain. I don't remember what city in Spain it is, though.
Madrid.
Madrid, okay. There's only so many cities in Spain.
Barcelona. Fucking, I don't.
Barcelona. Barcelona. All right. So we got the Commanders taking on the Dolphins in Spain. Dolphins favored -2.5 over under 47.5. A lot of injuries for the Commanders in this game. Dolphins kind of turning things around. Which way do you see this one going, Evo?
Yeah, look, the Dolphins get themselves a really good win last week versus the Bills, which people, obviously we didn't feel like that should be the case. I feel like most bettors probably didn't feel like that should be the case. But we are looking at a situation here where they're playing kind of a down in the dumps Washington team. And then the next couple games here for the Dolphins, you got New Orleans, the Jets, Pittsburgh, who I think is gettable, the Bengals, who have a lot of offense but no defense. You might be looking at a string of wins here for Miami that they could really start on the right foot if they get this win here overseas. I don't like this Miami team. Obviously, I thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. But the fact that they were able to kind of put the stomping on that Bills team last week, it made me question a lot about the Bills. But, I have to sit back and take a question about Dolphins as well. Like, are they getting a little bit of something going? Is I would like to think no,
Right.
but still looking at their schedule here, I think that they have a potential string of wins that's going to make them look a lot better than they are. And I think that they can get one here on the Commanders. I think the Commanders are kind of down in the dumps. I'm just going to go with Miami on the money line here. I never want to drop points with this Miami team because one week we might see like a win versus the Bills, and the next week we might see them just be complete uber dog shit. So I'll go Miami on the money line. And I don't feel great about it because I didn't think I was going to say that for the rest of the year.
Understood. So I'm going to blow your fucking mind then because I'm going Dolphins -2.5. The Commanders are so fucking hurt. No Jaden Daniels, no Terry McLaurin. Gosh, I think their only healthy back still is Bill. So
Chris Rodriguez is probably playing, but like it's Chris Rodriguez.
Yeah, so like they just don't have any offense. Miami doesn't have necessarily any defense, but I'm not worried about the Commanders scoring any points at this point in the season. So I think Miami's going to win this thing.
Miami does have a subpar defense, but it's not as bad as like the Bengals or the Cowboys or something like that. Like they've got some guys out there. It's just not very good.
The swagger is back. Mike McDaniel's going out and fucking rubbing it in the face of the fans for the Bills. I mean, they're going to be in a whole other ass country. Like Mike's going to be feeling himself, I feel like. So I'm going Dolphins -2.5.
All right. Got it down. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears going into Minnesota versus my Vikings. Right now, the Vikings are favored -2.5 points. I've seen this line as high as -3.5 points, favoring my Vikings at -115 odds right now. Over under a 47.5. Mike, what are your thoughts on this game before I kind of get into my thoughts here? I don't know if we're going to be going in the same direction on this one or not, because like you kind of prefaced earlier, it's an interesting line, I think, with the way that things are going. The Bears are 6-3 right now. My Vikings are 4-5. Typically, that wouldn't lead to this sort of a line.
Yeah, so the way the Bears have won recently, I think maybe concerns gamblers a little bit because they've gotten lucky at the ends of games. Or, maybe not luck. Maybe things have just fallen their way, and Vegas thinks that maybe that luck is going to come to an end against a pretty well-coached Vikings team. We'll see how JJ McCarthy does. But, I mean, a 6-3 Bears team who is improving each week. They're getting a running game going. Like, it's really hard for me to bet against that when I can take the points. I don't know who's necessarily going to win this game, but if Vegas wants to give me points for the Bears when I feel like they probably should have been favorited, I'm going to take those. I'm going to go Bears +2.5. I think you guys could win this game, but you guys play everybody close as per usual. So I feel like plus in the points here is the right play.
All right. Yeah, fair enough. Look, like I was saying, like the line does seem a little bit odd. I almost expected this to be a little bit closer to even, which if you take Vegas for its word there at -2.5, and the 2.5 point swing typically is given for home field advantage. If the Vikings are playing at home, then it would generally be an even game at that point. But yeah, Bears have gotten what is it, 6 of the last 7 games they've won, but most of them are by pretty low margins. Last week they were able to win one in a comeback versus the Giants, and that was with Jackson Dart out, and obviously no Malik Neighbors or Scadaboo. They were able to win in a shootout versus the Bengals, which leads me to believe that defense is susceptible to being, pillaged, if you will. They lose one to Baltimore, which they lost in a handily fashion. And then, wins versus New Orleans and Washington. And I don't give a ton of credibility to those, the Raiders. So that's the thing, is they've got a string of wins here, but it was versus Dallas with no defense, Las Vegas with no defense, Washington with just an injured bad defense, New Orleans, bad team, Cincinnati, no defense, Giants, a defense that is heavily underperforming, and they caused their head coach to get fired. I do think that this is a little bit of, like, obviously props to the Bears for getting to where they're at. Caleb Williams is starting to come into his own a little bit. They have developed a good run game, and they do have good offensive weapons, which do scare me. But that defense doesn't scare me at all. I believe that they have like the worst pass rush win rate right now, a really bad secondary. And looking at my Vikings, we kind of beat ourselves last week. The most false starts by a home team since 2009, which makes no fucking sense. JJ McCarthy kind of getting amped up and throwing the ball crazy and moving away from the run game. There's so many things that we can pretty easily correct on my Vikings squad to make this a lot more of a competitive team. That coupled with like the worst game that Justin Jefferson's had, where he just seemed kind of out of it, I don't expect that to be a week-to-week thing. Like all those issues, I feel like it was an embarrassing loss last week. And not embarrassing like, oh, we got blown out. It was embarrassing by our individual performances. And that's going to be coached out of him. I trust Kevin O'Connell to do that. I expect this to be a much cleaner game from my team. And I fear saying this sort of stuff because typically when I do that for my team, it doesn't go that way. But I feel like this is the same sort of scenario that the Lions had last week, where they walked into Washington and Washington was in a bad spot. I feel like the Bears are in a bad spot here because Justin Jefferson is not going to let that be the taste left in people's mouths for long. Kevin O'Connell is not going to sit here having JJ McCarthy throw the highest average depth of target consistently, where he got beat up by the media this week. Why didn't you call more running plays? Why didn't you call more running plays? Things like that. They're not going to have Wes Phillips trot out there and be like, it was pretty fucking embarrassing for us to have 8 false starts. That's just not going to continue to happen. They're going to coach him on the fundamentals and the basics. And if we get back to that, I think that we got a good chance to win here. I'm going Vikings on the money line. I consider dropping the points because we're 2-0 in the NFC. We won 1 versus Chicago. Chicago didn't really impress me in that first game. That was, again, more of like our team kind of not running optimal, being injured. Now we have a full complement of guys, minus our starting center on the offensive line. The only big name that we're missing out of this game is Jonathan Grenard, which is a big one. But I think that our offense is going to be able to take advantage of this defense today, and B-Flow is going to be able to provide some interesting looks for Caleb Williams that might be able to get him kind of off his spot a little bit. So I'm going Vikings on the money line in this one. I feel like this could be a nasty game for the Bears.
Okay. All right. I hope you're wrong, but I mean, just for my pick.
Absolutely. All right.
All right, brother.
What do we got up next?
Oh, let me get back to it. We have got the Green Bay Packers heading out to New York, taking on the Giants. Packers favorited -7.5, over under 42.5. Packers have been up and down. Questions about Jordan Love abound, but we know what is going on with the Giants. They are perpetually hurt, and now they have fired their coach. Is there any way the Giants can keep this thing close? I don't see any way they can win this thing, but 7.5, 2 scores in an NFL game, even though, you know, you just fire your coach. There's a lot of stuff that's going into this matchup because I don't know that the locker room gets better that Dayball's gone. Because I don't think that Dayball was necessarily a huge problem. Where do you see this thing going?
This is an interesting one because, look, the Packers aren't blowing anyone out this year. They're playing to their opponent. I do think that the players on defense for this Giants team are way better than they're performing. And it is more of an indictment on that defensive coordinator than it is on the actual players on the team. You are playing Jameis Winston. Big vibes, right? Like the press conferences this week already have been fantastic from Jameis. And Kafka taking over as that interim head coach, he's been looked at as a potential head coach already a couple times. Obviously, he's a bit of an architect of that offense. He's not going to completely go away from what Daboll was doing, and he's probably played a big role in the development of Jackson Dart. I kind of like it. I kind of like the Giants to sneak in here and get a win here versus Green Bay. But with that, I'm going to take the Giants plus the 7.5. I probably shouldn't feel as bullish about this as I do, but like the Packers just aren't impressing me. Like they have a good defense for sure, but I'm not impressed at all by the Packers offense without Kraft being out there. this offense seems really, really neutered. So I think that the Packers could win this one, but I don't think they're going to blow them out by more than a touchdown. So like the over under here at 42.5, I would also kind of lean towards taking the under on it a little bit, but I'm going to take the Giants plus the points here because I think they might be able to sneak one away from the Packers at home in New York.
Listen, that makes a lot of sense. I toyed around with going with the Giants plus the points, but I just don't know what's going to happen with Jameis. Jameis is awesome, but Jameis is also fucking catastrophe waiting to happen. It's boom or bust with Jameis. So it could go completely off the rails. I'm going to take the safe bet here, and I'm going Packers on the money line.
It makes sense. There could be that Kafka new coach boost as well. You never know.
Do you really think that Daboll was the problem, though? That they're like, oh, yeah, this is the reason that we suck?
No, I don't think that Daboll was the problem in that respect. I think it was like organizationally how the team's kind of being run a problem. And I still kind of point to Joe Shane being more of the issue here. But there's something to be said about the players want to, like, they probably feel bad that they got Daboll fired. Like, because like you kind of said, I don't think Daboll's a problem. I don't think that he's like the players probably didn't want Daboll gone.
Right.
So they probably are playing with that little bit of a chip on their shoulder, being like, man, we got our fucking coach fired and we like this guy and we don't think he was a problem. Like, we need to play our balls off. Yeah. Like, prove that ownership maybe made a wrong move there. We'll see. Like, this is probably one of the scarier plays for me because the Giants are not in a good spot right now. You're playing a backup quarterback, new interim head coach. You don't have your running back. You don't have your starting quarterback. You don't have your number one wide receiver. Your defense is playing atrocious. Why would we win this game? Why would we be able to keep it within that touchdown? I just kind of plum picking it here.
Hey, why not us, baby? Why not us? I feel you ready for the next one, brother?
Yes, sir. We got the Carolina Panthers going into Atlanta versus the Falcons. Falcons trying to make up for that horrendous loss that they had early in the year, 30-0. And Falcons are favored at home, minus 3.5 points at minus 115 odds, over under of 41.5. I'm really looking forward to finding out what you think is going to happen with this game. And I'm sure all the Atlanta fans are ready to hear what Fat AJ McCarron has to say about this one.
Dude, Fat AJ McCarron was a fucking baller. That's so good. We even pulled it up. And I was like, yeah, I am Fat AJ McCarron. That totally works.
Yeah.
That was good. I'm riding with the Falcons fans this week, man. I think they're going to win this game. I'm not dropping any points because I don't trust the Falcons at all. But I also don't trust the Panthers. For some reason, they were up over 500. Now they're back to 500. I think the Falcons are going to put them back where they belong at below 500. The fact that they've gotten to where they are is fantastic. Rico Dowdle has been a revelation for that team. The Falcons, I think, are a better team, though, from top to bottom, even at the quarterback spot. And I have had serious concerns about Michael Penix when you move him off of his spot. I still take Michael Penix over Bryce Young. So I'm going Falcons, money line, and I'm not pissing off any Falcons fans this week.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, I'm doing the same thing, man. Atlanta on the money line. That what is it, week 3 win, I believe, that the Panthers had over the Falcons.
Beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, 30-0. I don't think Raheem Morris is going to let that happen again.
Yeah.
We just saw the Falcons overseas hold up really well to the Colts, and we think the world of the Colts. We know that defense can be really good. We know that the offense has teeth. I don't think that they're going to lean away from Bijan. Bijan had a bad game versus Carolina, and I think that they're going to try to find a way to set the tone with Bijan to show, like, it was an embarrassment, and you're not going to allow that embarrassment to continue at home. So they've probably looked at what happened last week with Carolina, and they're going to develop a good game plan here. I like Atlanta on the money line, not willing to drop the points again, just because Atlanta does seem to be just having wild pitch oscillations between being a good team and a bad team. Like, are they playoff worthy, or are they absolute dog shit and you lose to the Panthers 30-0? Yeah, we'll both ride with Atlanta on the money line on this one. And as the Chinese say, Mazel Tov on that. We can move on to the next game. Los Angeles Chargers versus Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Chargers are favored away in this one, minus 3 points at minus 105 odds, over under of 43.5. Mike. Not having the tackles there for the Chargers. Is that going to be enough? We saw kind of the effects last week of how it affected that Chargers team. But you're going against this Jags team that has underperformed. They've kind of been middling. Sometimes this year they look really good. The defense has been playing at least average, above average at points, better than we kind of expected. Where do you think this one's going?
So I think when you look at the tackle situation, it sucks, right? But if there's a coach that can find a way to maybe mitigate that, I think Harbaugh could find a way with what they do on the offensive side of the ball. You know, they can get the ball out quick. They can try to get if they can get any kind of run game going, they can move the pocket using play action so that you can mitigate the tackles a little bit. And Herbert's athletic enough that he can climb and find guys. Now, if this is a statue, like some of the older quarterbacks, yeah, you have a huge problem. But I think Justin Herbert is a guy that can help mitigate some of those things. This Jags team, up and down. Offensively, they have been just in disarray. Brian Thomas Jr. exploded as a rookie. This year is having a massive regression. They lose Travis Hunter for the year. We'll see how Jacoby Myers fits into his role going forward. But I'm really kind of losing faith in this Jags team that they were going to make some sort of ascension the way they looked early in the season. Now, I'm very happy about that as a Browns fan because I own their pick. And I'm not saying this because I own their pick. But they have not been playing good football. I think the Chargers have been playing good football, but injuries have hampered them. I'm going to take the Chargers, and I'm going to drop 3 points here. I really do. I think the Jags are in trouble.
All right. Yeah, look, one of the things with the Jags I think has really switched from the beginning of the year to the later part of the year is that they had a little bit of a complementary offense going. Travis Etienne started off the year really well, and he's been a ghost since. Bashal Tutin, who I like, has been more involved and looked better than Etienne, but he's still not doing a whole lot. That offense can't find any sort of a run game, and if you don't have a run game and you're just solely relying on the pass, and then you have your receiving options kind of playing down from what we've seen in previous years with Brian Thomas Jr. And the book is unfortunately still out on Trevor Lawrence at this point. It is a bad combo for that offense. Flip side, the Chargers, yes, losing the tackles, it sucks. And I saw the impact of that, especially in the run game last week. But you did have guys, I believe it was Trey Pipkins, like held up against TJ Watt really well. Despite that, allowed 0 sacks, 0 pressures. And one thing about Harbaugh is just because there are injuries, he's going to modify his game plan, but he's not going to go away from what like the core of that team is, which has always been run the ball. Even though Kamani Vidal wasn't getting a whole bunch going early in the game, he didn't go away from it. He kept going, and Kamani Vidal ended up with having a pretty good day by the end of it. So I don't think they're going to move away from that. And you still do have a wealth of pretty good options in the receiving game there. Ronnie Gatson is going to be playing in this one. That knee injury is not going to be a problem. And you have your full complement of receivers. I also like the Chargers. I'm going to be taking them on the money line just to be a little bit safer because like the tackle situation does still bother me. It scares me. I think that it's going to neuter their possible offensive production to an extent. This is one that the Jaguars could kind of sneak up and get in this game. Playing at home against an injured team, if they start to hit their peak performance like they had earlier in the year when they beat the Chiefs, yeah, we could see the Jaguars come out on top in this one. But odds on, I feel a little bit better about the Chargers here.
All right. Makes sense to me, brother. And listen, I get not dropping the points. And I hate dropping even number points. So dropping 3 is kind of out of the norm for me.
Yeah. And look, taking points at 3 is a little bit scary because you're asking for push potential either way.
Yeah, I don't like the even numbers. Give me the hook. All right. Heading into our next game. Let me get back there. I had to review what the hell I was doing. We've got, this is going to be a fun one. We got the Bengals heading out to Pittsburgh, taking on the Steelers. This game is going to be fucking awesome. Line in this one. Steelers favored -5.5, over under 48.5. We saw the Bengals get the Steelers earlier in the season. Joe Flacco fucks the Steelers up damn near every time he plays them. The Steelers have been up, down, back up. Recently playing very good defense. Bengals always playing good offense and terrible defense. Which way do you see this one going, man? Are we going to get a repeat performance? Is Joe Flacco going to light them up again, or the Steelers going to find a way to start catching a couple wins here back to back?
Yeah, you talk about that loss that the Steelers had to the Bengals just 3-4 weeks ago. It was a 33-31 game that kind of came down to the wire. And that was Joe Flacco coming to this Bengals team with less than a week in total of being there, definitely less than a week of practice. And he was still able to find his guys in T. Higgins and primarily Jamar Chase and really make the Steelers pay for it. I still think that the Steelers defense is old and maligned and not that good. Like, they obviously, guys like TJ Watt and whatnot are going to still make an impact, but not like they would have 3 years ago. I think that this one absolutely could be another high scoring game. What was the over under on this one that we were looking at? A 48.5.
Was it 48 or 47.5?
48.5 is what I got right now on the FanDuel. And,
yep, 48.5.
And that easily would have cleared last game. We know that the Bengals are absolutely capable of allowing a bunch of points. But this one could end up being a little bit, but I don't know if I want to call it an offensive shootout, because anyone can look really good on offense versus this Bengals defense.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that the Bengals offense is playing with Joe Burrow there still makes me think that they can put up a lot of points on the Steelers team as well. Which, I'm not going to bet the over on this one, but I would give it serious consideration. I don't like the Steelers team. Maybe Vegas is honey dicking me on this one. I don't know, but I'm going to take the Bengals plus the points here. Give me Bengals plus the 5.5. Originally, there was expected to be a little bit of rain out there in Pittsburgh and possibly make that field even shittier, which doesn't play well to a higher scoring offensive game. I think that the weather is supposed to be good for tomorrow at this point. Either way, I'm taking the Bengals plus the points.
As am I, man. I'm going Bengals plus 5.5. I think that there is probably going to be a lot of points, but Joe Flacco just knows what the Steelers do, man. He has had no problem with them in his career. And I understand every year is new. Every year is different. But some guys just beat the shit out of certain teams. Like Ben Roethlisberger beat the fuck out of the Cleveland Browns every goddamn time he played him, pretty much. Like, I think we only beat him twice in his entire fucking career. Joe Flacco's got that going right now against the fucking Steelers. Do I know if the Bengals are going to be good enough to beat the Steelers again? I mean, I doubt it. That defense is awful. But I trust Joe to at least put up some points against this old-ass defense. So I'll take the points as well, my man.
All righty. Next up, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into Buffalo versus the Bills, coming off of a pretty rough loss there versus Miami. Bills are favored at home, minus 5.5 points, over under of 46.5 points here. I hate this game because it's two teams that I think are really good. Mm-hmm. Two teams that I could see potentially making it to the Super Bowl with how good that they can be when they're at full health.
Right.
Neither of them are there right now. Both of them coming off of losses last week. Mm-hmm. It's tough to know what team we're going to get for both of these teams. So it's tough to make a true fucking bet here. That's the scary part of this. Mike, what are your thoughts on this game? Where are you going to be going with this one?
All right, so I agree with you. This wasn't tough. I went back and forth. And what this came down to was playing the odds. I think both of these teams are very good. I think both quarterbacks are very good. I think if they take care of the ball, we could have a fucking barn burner of a game. Could be the best game of the day at 1:00 if they both take care of the football. The running game for the Bucs is going to be tough because Bucky Irving's still not there. But they've found ways to get points. Their defense has found ways to play pretty well. And here's the thing. They don't have to be special running the ball because the Bills are awful at stopping the run. The Bills have been able to run the ball pretty well, and Josh has, done Josh Allen things. Like they just have not been able to slow down enough people. I think that this is going to be super, super fun. I don't know what the fuck that was, but
that was my mic.
I went down. It came down to, man, either one of these teams could win. The Bucs can make me more money. I'm taking the Bucs on the money line.
All right.
That's what I went with.
Tampa Bay on the money line. I kind of had the same process here. I maneuvered 2.5 points for home field advantage, which is a little bit more like 3 points there in Buffalo, because playing in Buffalo is really tough with those fans. But Tampa Bay, while they are missing offensive pieces, you are having Rashad White and a Sean Tucker go up against a really bad run defense. And they do still have receiving options there for Tampa Bay that I do like. Tez Johnson has shown up as a rookie and looked really good. You've got Emeka Egbuka still playing pretty good. Cade Otton is looking like Cade Otton in the second half of last year, a solid receiving option there in the pass game. And I don't feel the same way about Buffalo. I don't like really any of their receivers. And then you have Dalton Kincaid out in this game. So Dawson Knox is looking to hopefully fill in that role a little bit. But one of the big things that the Buffalo Bills do really good is work in the middle of the field, specifically with those tight ends. The key to success for this Buffalo Bills team is getting Dalvin Cook going. There's a heavy correlation between good games for Dalvin Cook, or excuse me, for not Dalvin. That was the older brother. For Cook, rather than having bad games and then they end up losing those ones. So they need to get the run game going there in Buffalo. But with that, I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take the Bucs plus the 5.5 because I think that this one could be one that goes kind of either way based on who decides to show up. And if I'm going to get a little bit of extra sugar on that one, I'll take the Bucs on the money line.
And the name that we were looking for was James
Cook.
James Cook, not Dalvin.
Yeah.
Who is he back in the league? I thought he signed somewhere, right?
No, there was all sorts of fake social media rumors about him going to the Chargers when all the running backs.
Okay, I thought I saw something like, oh my god, Dalvin Cook's gonna come back and fucking play.
No, Dalvin Cook is truly cooked at this point. I think not currently rostered.
All right, brother. Heading into our next game, we've got the Texans going out to Tennessee. The Texans are favored at -5.5, over under 37.5. Low scoring game. Titans have been bad all year. That offense has not looked good with a rookie quarterback and no weapons. And this Texans defense is spectacular. It makes complete sense to me why the over under is 37.5. But are you willing to go and take one of those numbers? You're going to bet on one of these teams here, because neither one of them score very many points. Davis Mills projected to start again in this game with CJ Stroud out, which means that offense could be a little neutered again. Got going last week, but don't expect a lot of points out of Davis Mills week in and week out. Where are you going, man?
Well, yeah, they were able to put up 36 points versus a Jags defense, and I think the Jags defense is better than the Titans defense. Davis Mills has shown that he's able to do good things for a team. I do truly trust this Houston defense, though. They're fucking awesome. And I don't really like anything going for the Titans. You'll see little bits and pieces, sparks from Tajay Spears or Chimere Dike at wide receiver for him, but those are small glimpses in an otherwise black abyss of a team here right now. I'm going Houston on the money line because I do think it could be a low scoring game, which means I'm not going to look at dropping any sort of points. The only time on a low scoring game that I would go with a spread is adding points. But I don't have faith in the Tennessee offense being able to put up a ton of points. So safest bet for me here, Houston on the money line. Could be a low score, but I would still lean towards Houston being able to be the one that puts up the most of those points.
Yeah, man, I agree, man. I feel the exact same way. I don't think Tennessee is going to score very many points in this game at all. Houston should win this game. They are the better team. They've been the better team all year. You have a little bit more confidence in Davis Mills than I do. I don't know if that's going to continue, but Tennessee Titans defense has been bad. Hopefully we can see a little bit more Woody Marks. Woody Marks having a breakout game right here. This is the week to do that. I would imagine very, very low scoring. 37.5 is very low, though. It could be below that. I'm just going Houston on the money line. That's the safest play in my mind.
All righty. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks going into LA versus the Rams. A huge divisional matchup here between two of the best teams in the NFC. You brought up how Tampa Bay versus Buffalo could be best game at the 1 o'clock number. I think this is the one that we're looking at, though, because both these teams are healthy. Both of them are kind of on top of it right now. Both of them are very good. Huge playoff implications, and this could be another rematch that we see in the playoffs. And the line here makes it even more difficult to bet. We're looking at the Rams being favored at home, -3 points at -120 odds. So it's even there, looking for a possible push, man. Over under of 48.5. This is really two of the best teams going up against each other right now. And we're going to find out who each of them are. I think people are still a little bit scared about Seattle with Sam Darnold because of Sam Darnold's past. And I get it. But also, Sam Darnold has put together basically 2 years now of looking pretty fucking solid. On the other side, you have one of the MVP candidates of the year right now, Matt Stafford. And everything that this Rams team does, they do well. So you don't really have question marks with them. Mike, what are your thoughts on this one? Who are you going with?
I think this game is going to be good, but I think this game will be lower scoring than that Bills Bucks game. These are two very well-coached teams, two very good defenses. Now, I understand the offenses for both of these teams can go. Stafford isn't in the MVP conversations. And you know what? Fucking your boy, he's got me convinced. Darnold is having himself a career resurgence or a surgence, whichever one. But he is playing legit fucking football. And I can't get away from this idea that, man, with that two-headed monster backfield that they're trying to work, if they find a way to get those guys going, I know that you've been down on Charbonnet. Listen, I want fucking Kenneth Walker to be the primary guy too, but Charbonnet played pretty good last week. I think that they are going to be able to run the ball a little bit against this Rams team, and that will make the difference. Seattle's defense is going to come up really, really big, tough game. I'm taking the money. I'm going Seahawks on the money line, man. This is going to be a banger game, but I do not see it being a big shootout like the two hurt teams could be earlier in the day.
See, we're going a little bit opposite here. I do think that it's two defenses that are really good, but I think it's two offenses that are really good too. And they're both, I think we might end up getting into a bit of a shootout. I think this one could get loose because of how aggressive these offenses are going to be going at each other. Sam Darnold pushing it deep down the field and just steady aggressiveness in general on offense from McVay and the Rams. I'm going over. I'm going over the 48.5 number. Look, if we're looking at like a 27-25 score, that wins it for me. I think that's absolutely doable in this game from both of these offenses. I think that they both have the potential to put up 30 points against anybody at this point. So yeah, I'm going to take the over on this one because I like both these teams. I like both these teams to win. And so if that's the case, I'm leaning towards the over on it. All righty.
Makes sense to me, brother. Let's not talk about that. Which one do you got? What's next for you on yours?
San Fran.
Okay, great. Let's talk about that game.
San Francisco 49ers going into Arizona versus the Cardinals. 49ers favored in this one, -3 points at -115 odds, over under of 48.5. Arizona Cardinals, big time home dogs in this one. Going out there, Jacoby Brissett again. Obviously, Kyler Murray on IR. And look, I know that everyone needs to know this information. They want to know this information. Black Ops 7 is currently out. It is playable. You know Kyler is out there playing it on IR. It all makes sense. This is all part of the script. These are the stats that you guys come here to watch on Raw Dog Sports. I'm going to give you even more stats, all right? Evo's top 15 positions that he likes to fuck in. 69, Iramadio, doggy style, eating pussy. The bicycle, captain, reverse cowgirl, lotus, regular cowgirl, downward dog, the pretzel, banana split, eating ass, pile driver, and the mermaid. If you like this sort of statistical breakdown and information, please take a little bit of time out of your day. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Go on the TikTok. Find us on TikTok. Give us a holler and a shout out there. We're trying to build up that TikTok channel as well. But everyone that's watching today, we appreciate you. Please just give us a little bit of your time. Give us a like. Share us with your friends because we got the good information that you want. Share us. Subscribe to us. We would be truly grateful for that. But as far as this game is concerned, I don't really give a fuck too much about the Cardinals at this point because that was embarrassing last week. I do like Brissett playing better than I like Kyler playing there, and I think Kyler's time is done with Arizona. Next Cleveland Browns quarterback, Kyler Murray. But
No.
I'm not a fan of you raggedy bitch.
We're not doing that.
You're gonna love him. You're gonna love the little guy running around there. You're used to retread quarterbacks who are way too overpriced and ones that are way underneath a height requirement to get on the roller coaster. So Kyler fits perfectly with your system. I'm going San Francisco on the money line. I think they're a better team here. They are playing Brock Purdy this week. So first time we're seeing Brock Purdy back out there. They do have the Mac Jones safety net if they need to go to it. There could be a little bit of, rust to get off of the old throwing arm there for Brock Purdy. However, I still like this team overall better. I think Christian McCaffrey's going to have himself a pretty good day there versus Arizona, despite them having a good defense, and they will get the win in Arizona. I'm not going to drop the points, though. Still a little bit fearful because I know this Cardinals team can play good when they don't have a massive amount of turnovers to start off the game.
Yeah. I'm also going 49ers on the money line. I think they are a better team. Last week did suck for the Cardinals. That kind of thing won't happen again. I don't expect that they're going to get jumped on right out of the fucking gate. But I think over the game, 49ers will prove that they are a better team. It is going to be cool to see how that offense looks. We've seen Mac Jones run this offense pretty efficiently now for 5 weeks, 6 weeks?
It feels like basically the whole season.
Yeah.
So I almost can't remember Brock Purdy playing.
Yeah. So I'm going to be interested to see what Brock looks like coming back. How much that offense really does it look any kind of different? I mean, because Brock has a bigger arm than Mac does. Maybe they'll push the ball a little bit more down the field. We'll see. But I'm also going 49ers money line. I think they'll figure out a way to get this thing done in the end.
All right. Sounds good. Who have we got up next, Mike?
I don't want to do this one. I'm pretty sure it's my game.
No.
But let me look.
I got one more.
Yay. Good. We got the Chiefs going out to Denver, taking on the Broncos. Chiefs favorited -3.5, over under of 44.5. Fairly low considering the two teams that we're talking about here. Broncos up and down. Bo Nix, you never know what you're getting until the fourth quarter. Chiefs have been kind of steamrolling people. Their defense has been playing much better. Evo, which way do you think you're going in this one, brother?
We should never say this game is easy, right? That's always a tough spot to be in. But if you believe what the NFL script writers believe, it's that there's no way that you can have an NFL playoffs without the Chiefs in it, right? Chiefs right now are sitting outside looking in to the playoffs. They are the 8th team in the AFC right now. We just can't have that, NFL. You just had this great thing happen where YouTube TV and ESPN figured out how to fucking suck each other off again and get their sports back on the TVs of the American viewers. And so it's prime time to get the Chiefs back in winning mode and getting back in the playoffs. So Kansas City, money line for me. I almost dropped the points here because this is Andy Reid coming off of a bye. And he likes to fucking do well. That's the one time that you can almost bet on them covering a spread is coming off of the bye. But I expect not only a disproportionate amount of penalties going in the Chiefs' favor in this one, I also expect Bo Nix, as usual, to play like poop until the fourth quarter. And I expect the Chiefs to win this one handily because The NFL wants the golden boy, Pat Mahomes, back in the playoffs, and they need to start having the Chiefs go on a bit of a run here. No assessment of team versus team whatsoever in this one for me.
All right.
Because we know that, like, the Broncos got a good defense, right? We say that every week. And we know the Chiefs have like a no running game and a weird passing game and a good defense. We could sit here and argue about all that, but it doesn't fucking matter because the script writers want the Chiefs in there. So the Chiefs are going to win this one. Money line, Chiefs.
I'm also going Chiefs on the money line. I was going to give some analysis, but honestly, I don't need to. Like, I agree. The Chiefs will win. They're coming off a bye. And could the NFL even fathom fucking playoffs without Pat Mahomes in it?
I don't know.
Couldn't see it.
Look, my honest, if I'm not going like full conspiracy theory situation here, it's that the Chiefs aren't going to make the playoffs this year. I think that they will kind of scrape by being that like 8th seed, which doesn't make it in. So that's my off the wall kind of take, but I'm not actually putting it to paper yet. But yeah, I think that the Chiefs are going to make it competitive, and it might come down to the wire whether or not they make it to the playoffs or not. And they need to start stringing together some wins here. And if you believe my boy Adam Thielen, the rest are a bunch of fanboys. They're super happy about being on the field with these superstars and then getting to go to their day jobs and be like, yeah, I dapped up Pat Mahomes this week, and they can't help themselves. And I think that probably plays a little bit into it too. You're going to get more favorable calls for certain teams, certain players in certain situations. Chiefs are one of those teams and situations. And look, Mile High is a tough place to play. Denver does have a good defense. They could keep this one closer, but I really have no faith in this Denver offense right now. The one bright spot to me, not that J.K. Dobbins has been bad. He's been very good, but we're going to get to see a lot more R.J. Hyde in this game because J.K. Dobbins is out right now. So that'll be cool to see. It might be a little bit of a workload, though, for R.J. Harvey. Maybe not the best of days. If he goes out there and has a Trevion Henderson type of day, that's a completely different story. I don't see that happening. Yeah, I don't see that happening, but I would love to see it happen, to be fair. But yeah.
I mean, I can see him having like a Jerick McKinnon type day. RJ Harvey's not a guy that I see getting the ball and running between the tackles and really having one of those. He catches the ball out of the backfield. Like he's a really good change of pace back, I think. That works great with J.K. Dobbins, but I don't know how much they're going to be able to put the load on him. So actually, you know what? I don't want to. Let's stop analyzing this game. Let's move on.
Hey, little secret play if you're really hurting for running back depth in fantasy. Tyler Batty is probably available out there in a lot of leagues. We know Sean Payton likes to run multiple backs out of his backfield. RJ Harvey's probably going to get a bulk of the work, but if you're looking for someone that's a little bit more between the tackles type running, Tyler Batty is a emergency play if you need to grab him and play him in this game. But next up, we do have your game. Baltimore Ravens going into Cleveland versus your Browns. Browns are getting 7.5 points at minus 110 odds here. Over under of 38.5. Another one that's expected to be a little bit of a lower scoring game. Mike, you didn't want to talk about this one, but we're going to force you to. I want to see this brolic man get up here and tell me why the Cleveland Browns are going to keep this one close or potentially even win the game.
That's not going to happen. Because while I am a fan of the Cleveland Browns, I'm also not a fucking moron. They're going to get the shit kicked out of them, and I'm going to have to go watch it tomorrow. Now, granted, it'll probably be fun. I will enjoy being in the atmosphere. But the Ravens are going to beat the piss out of us. The Browns have been playing like absolute dog shit, especially on the offensive side of the ball, while this Ravens team is continuing to get better on the defensive side of the ball. They're continuing to get healthier. The only way that we can win this game is if we find a way to get our defense out on the field and generate some turnovers in plus position. We lost to the fucking Jets last week because they kept our defense off the field. We couldn't get field position in our favor. That is really one of the only ways that we have generated fucking points this year is by starting in plus field position. We are not going on long drives. We are not scoring any fucking points. 7.5 ain't even close to enough. If this were fucking 10.5, you could take the Ravens and drop that. Now, I love my Browns, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the Ravens minus 420 because that's exactly what I'm going to have to do to make it through that fucking game tomorrow.
All right. I don't know. You guys got a good defense, right? You just saw what Brian Flores was able to do to Lamar Jackson. If they're able to look and see, hey, Brian Flores did this sort of stuff, we've got good defensive players, maybe we can start to hold back this Ravens team a little bit and keep it a little bit closer. I'm really, really, really hoping for a big day from Harold Fannin because I'm having to play him in fantasy this week. So I would love to see Fannin have a good day against this defense. But we have already seen this game once this year. Ravens put a stomp on you guys earlier, 41-17. That offense, while yes, it was week 2, that Ravens offense was still operating pretty good, especially after that first game versus the Bills. And they haven't been the same sort of offense since. So I don't know that they're going to put up 41 points against a good defense that you guys have. But I think that they probably could put up a decent amount of points, still 35 or so. I think you guys will get some scores because that Ravens defense is susceptible. I saw it last week. They didn't do as much to the Vikings as the Vikings did to themselves in that game, and they are gettable. They don't have a great pass rush.
A guy that's capable of taking advantage of those mistakes, though. And
got to be Harold Fannin.
Dylan Gabriel is not that fucking guy.
Well, look, as much as I love JJ McCarthy, he's like at the bottom of the league in most NFL statistical categories right now.
Not in arm strength. He can make every fucking throw. Dylan Gabriel can't see and he can't make every throw.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm going to take the over in this one. It's a little bit of a weird play. I'm taking the over 38.5 because I think that you guys can put up 10 points.
38.5.
I think the Ravens could put up 30 or more points. I think you guys could put up between 10 and 17 points, and that still keeps me within that realm of the over. This one feels like it could possibly hit for me, so I'll go with the over here. Though I was cautiously considering the 7.5 there, but I do generally agree with you on most of the Dylan Gabriel takes there. So look, we in this game earlier in the year there was no Quinshon Judkins. You did not have the run game. Now you have the semblance of a run game, and so that might change things up a little bit for your offense. Some differences between beginning of the year and end of the year. But that being said, we can go ahead. We can move on to our next one. This is our Sunday night football game. Detroit Lions going into Philadelphia versus the Eagles. Eagles are favored at home, minus 2.5 points, which means Vegas views this as pretty much an even game, over under a 46.5. We have Detroit Lions getting plays called by Dan Campbell, putting up over 500 yards of offense, but kind of a relatively meh defense versus this Philadelphia Eagles team, who was able to barely eke one out despite some boneheaded play calls from Sirianni and him having a little fucking sparring match with his media this week. You have A.J. Brown, who's having to be brought together with Hugh Laurie and Big Dom having a sit down in the mines to try to calm spirits because A.J. Brown goes out and talks on a Madden stream about, basically that he's not happy with how things are going there. And I generally agree. Like, I think that he should be more involved. This seems like a game that the Lions could possibly win, but they are going up against the Eagles team that you can't really argue with the fact that their defense is playing really good, that they are one of the best teams in the NFC right now. I'm interested to get your take on where this one is going to go, because I do think that these teams are not even as far as both good offenses, both good defenses. I think that they both kind of mesh well where they can get their shots on each other at certain points. And I'm not so confident in who I would want to take here in this one.
So for me, I think that the Lions are a more explosive team. They have weapons all over the place. Now, obviously, the Eagles have a ton of weapons as well. A.J. Brown is an amazing wide receiver. Saquon Barkley, fucking Devontae Smith had a great year. But they have not nearly been as consistent on that offensive side of the ball with their explosive plays. Saquon Barkley has had games where he's been ghost. We know that that's happened with A.J. Brown. The only time that the offense for the Lions is ever really stifled is when Goff plays like shit and has turnovers. Otherwise, they're putting up points, and it doesn't really fucking matter who they're playing up against because they are so goddamn explosive. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is so fast, he makes fucking fast people look not fast. Like, it's ridiculous. So I'm leaning Lions. I'm going Lions money line. I agree that stylistically it could be very interesting, but I just trust the offense of this Lions team more, even though that they can, that Eagles defense is fairly decent. They've been playing pretty good. Will they show up and score enough points? Maybe. I mean, the Lions are susceptible too. I think this is going to be another really good game. I just like the Lions more.
So when I looked at this line,
I thought it was wrong immediately.
I came in with the same kind of thought process. I think that Detroit's offense is much more explosive, and I think they're playing a better brand of football offensively right now that can beat most defenses. And so I was like, yeah, I was coming into this expecting the Lions to actually be road favorites, and then they weren't. And I was like, this is Vegas. Mm-hmm. This is the normally the trap that we get into.
Yep.
It felt more like Vegas honeydicking me on this one. And I think A.J. Brown's going to have a good day. I think that he might have 2 touchdowns in this game. I would almost be willing to put a little money on that. I'm going Philadelphia on the money line. I feel like in this primetime game, Vegas knows a little something. For whatever reason, I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles on the money line here, though in my heart, I feel like the Lions should probably win this game. And so I'm going to, this is one of those few times that we're like, Vegas got this one wrong. Maybe they didn't. Maybe Philly wins this one. So I'm going to go Philly on the money line.
All right. Listen, I understand it. It's going to be a good game. And I agree stylistically, they can each get each other in different ways. But we're heading into the last game, brother. You ready for Monday night?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. We have Dallas Cowboys going into Vegas versus the Raiders. Raiders, home dogs, plus 3.5 points at minus 115 odds. You can take the Cowboys at minus 3.5 for minus 105 odds. Over under a 50.5 points. They expect this one to get a little bit loose because both teams have bad defenses and both teams have potential for some offensive plays, especially the Cowboys, though. They have a full complement of offensive weapons, whereas the Raiders kind of have a boom-bust type of offense where they can have some guys like Trey Tucker streaking down the field and getting some points. You got Brock Bowers back in there doing good things. So this one expected to be a little bit higher scoring for a Monday night football game. Mike, we probably are going in the general same direction here, but I'm interested to get your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I think that the Raiders stink. I think Gino has stunk this year. I think the Cowboys stink too, but only on the defensive side of the ball. CeeDee Lamb is back healthy, playing well. They're going to score points. They're going to put up points on a really bad Raiders defense, really bad Raiders team. And while the Cowboys have a bad defense, has anybody on that Raiders team really shown you that they're going to be like they scare you week in, week out? Brock Bowers normally would, but he's been banged up all year. He had one huge game coming back from injury, but then was ghost last week. I just don't know that the Raiders will be able to keep up. So I'm going Cowboys money line. Minus 190 is not terrible odds there. I thought it was going to be a little worse than that. I'm surprised that the Raiders, that this line is as close as it is. The Raiders have been awful.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Raiders. Yes, they kept their last game, which was primetime, closer than I expected. But I still don't have a whole lot of faith in this team right now because I do think that their defense is pretty bad. I do think that their offense running through Geno Smith, Geno's liable to throw a couple of interceptions in this game. And one thing the Cowboys defense can do is not cover, but get interceptions. They can get the turnovers. So, yeah, I think this one could be high scoring. I'm going Dallas on the money line as well. I expect them to put up a heck of a lot of points. I'm looking for a good one from George Pickens here. Love to see that.
All right. I mean, listen, I feel it. I get it. Makes sense to me. But we are not quite done. We got one more bet to discuss because our guy, Blitz, has been working back behind the scenes, coming up with an idea of what he was going to do for this week's, big ass bet. I like this a lot. Jared Goff over 2 touchdowns. Feel like if he's on his game, 2 touchdowns is easy for him. Titans against the Texans, fucking defense, under 15.5, very doable. And a big bounce back potential for Bijan Robinson against a shitty Panthers team. This feels like it's nice little wheelhouse bets. And we're getting pretty decent odds, I feel like, on some of these with the plus 100 and minus 102. Evo, when Blitz brought this up, what'd you think?
Yeah, like the Titans not scoring a whole lot of points against one of the better defenses in the league makes a ton of sense to me. The scariest one for me here is the one with the highest odds, Jared Goff getting 2 passing touchdowns. And that's basically because I know that this Lions team likes to run the ball a lot. They got really good running backs. And if there's one thing that I feel more confident in, it's the running game over the passing game. But that being said, Jahmyr Gibbs isn't just a running threat. He's a receiving threat. That opens up the odds for him possibly getting one of the 2 necessary receiving touchdowns. And I expect Amon-Ra or Jameson Williams to still be involved in this. One downside, Sam Laporta not going to be in this game, but we haven't seen a team that says, oh, we are down a tight end, we're not going to be able to throw to tight ends. They have other guys on that team that can receive as well. So a decent little shot there. And then Bijan, you get Raheem Morris coming out this week talking about the superstar no one talks about enough is Tyler Algier. He's a superstar on our team, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, put the focus on the other guy because Bijan is your fucking superstar. And they aren't going to be embarrassed twice by this fucking Panthers team. And if you want to not be embarrassed, you're going to feed it to your superstar, Bijan. So getting 113.5 or more rushing and receiving yards total, I think is absolutely doable for Bijan. He's had like 3-4 down weeks in a row. And they want to get him back on the horse and feed that offense through him. So not a bad little bet here by Blitz. In plus 643 odds.
Plus 643, not bad. 10 will win you, what's that, 64.30. So you'll get 74.30 back, coming back. If you guys don't know how to do the odds, we can teach you at some other point. I'm not going to do it right now because we're about to wrap this motherfucker up. Evo, yeah, there we go. We got picks for the season up here. I'm at 54.3%. You are at 58.2%. Not bad. We want to see those numbers continue to increase as we go. I went up last week. You took a little bit of a hit, but I feel pretty good, man. We have a lot of shit this week that we're like pretty much in fucking lockstep with. So big week here would be great.
Yeah. And look, these odds aren't updated for our one win that we already have this week with the New England Jets game there. So we've already started off on the right foot looking for a
on the right foot, baby.
Right foot. We're started off on the right foot.
What the fuck is that?
Going in there. Look, I went through down the top 15 list here earlier, and it's got me going, man. You know, the Saint Pitbull once said, "Party like a rock star, live like an all-star, fuck like a porn star. It's what I do in life." 69, favorite number, favorite position. Shout out Stu Feiner, and it's got me thinking in the coital throws mindset right now. So I can't get fuck off the mind, and that's what we're gonna do this week. We're going to fuck this up. We are going to fuck our bets right into green territory. So expect when you see us again on Tuesday, we're going to see a lot of green on here because I feel good about this one. I feel like we got a good week here in week 11 set up for us betting and picks wise.
Hell yeah, brother. I appreciate it. And to everybody who's tuning in, thank you guys very much for tuning in. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime that you give some of it to us, we are forever grateful for it. I'm going to give my man Evo one last word, and then we're going to get the fuck out of here.
Oh, boy. Thank you, government, for giving me my paycheck back, though I haven't seen it yet. So you're on thin ice. But I'm glad that at least people are getting paid, but still disappointed in our government overall. Hopefully, I can get over that by enjoying some nice football this weekend. I think we got some good matchups. We're looking forward to that.
Hell yeah, brother. I'm glad that the government is back open. You guys will be getting paid. Pay these people very quickly. With that, man, we can get the fuck out of here. I'm Mike. That's Evo. This is Raw Dog Sports. But one last thing, just remember that your favorite politician is probably on the Epstein list. But with that, we're getting the fuck out of here. I'm Mike. That's Evo. See ya.